James Boggan, welcome to the Bespoke Careers Employer Branding Playbook. Thanks for joining us.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
So for those of you who don't know James, he heads up the Texas office based in Austin for Bespoke Careers. You've been there for 2 years, is that right, James?
Yeah, almost exactly 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah, but you did a stint in Sydney before that, is that?
Yeah, so I worked for Bespoke in Sydney for 5 years. I did some consulting for the London office while I was doing my master's. And then I moved over to Austin 2 years ago to open up our office here.
So a really good person to be talking to then on employer branding, especially the kind of the changes that it's seen in the last 12 years since you've you started at Bespoke and started in recruitment, or were you doing recruitment before?
No, Bespoke's my first recruitment job. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've had 12 years to kind of see how things have shifted. This episode's focusing on the salary and benefits aspect of employer branding, but I did want to start every episode by asking the guest the same question, which is what actually is employer branding, because everyone's got a slightly different perspective, and I think it's still a relatively new term that people are getting their heads around.
Yeah, I mean, for me, employer branding is the why, the why someone should, why a prospective candidate or prospective employee should join your company, and it's how you communicate that. So it's about attraction and retention. It's why candidates should join the firm. So highlighting kind of unique selling points such as mission, the values, culture, the type of work that you're doing, but then also what it's like to work at the firm. So that's more the retention piece, and they're kind of two sides of the same coin, really. They go hand in hand. It's no point promising something as part of the attraction piece and then not being able to deliver on it. In the retention piece. So it's all about how you communicate that, and I think the firms that do it well have um, very clear. Well, when you go to their careers page on their website, it's very clear what it's like to work at that firm. They might have interviews with their employees. They might have very detailed information about the benefits. They might have a link to their Glassdoor, which shows what it's like to work there. So it's about being uh, genuine as well, like being real about what it's like to work at your firm.
Yeah. And so, like we alluded to, you've been doing recruitment for about 12 years now. Is this, and also you're on the phone to clients and candidates every day, and particularly with employers, so those senior level architects and designers. Is employer branding something you've noticed becoming talked about more over the years? Is it more of a hot topic now than it used to be?
Yeah, I think most people would agree that the competition for talent has increased, um, and therefore it's harder to attract the top candidates. And so having a really strong employer branding strategy will help attract the top candidates. And I think it's definitely something that has evolved over the last 12 years, the same way that benefits have evolved, same way that people's attitude towards work has evolved. It's something that will keep changing and keep improving and keep evolving. I mean, I have a quite a unique perspective, having worked internally in a recruitment team at a company before, and working on the agency side as well. And I know that internally it was a big piece that we were looking at is how we communicate that why, how we communicate our values, our mission, and doing so we'll find the right kind of people. So yeah, it's certainly something that's evolved.
Yeah, I think you hit on something really important there, that it's a serious motivating factor. It contributes towards the attraction and retention. I think possibly in the past, um, people saw sort of employer branding and sort of just employee well-being as well as important, but almost a nice to have. They didn't really see it as necessarily impacting their bottom lines, but I think more and more we're seeing that actually creating an inclusive environment that sort of values the holistic employee and not just the worker is something that can actually make you more money in the long run, because a happy workforce and a talented workforce is more productive, and yeah, it's gonna win you new clients, and it's gonna keep the clients.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it goes beyond that to some extent, though. It's also about aligning the values of the company, and not every company's values will align with every employee, so or every potential employee. So, for example, if all of your work is about kind of sustainable design, you really want to get that across in your employer branding, and you want to be able to attract candidates, whether it's through an agency or whether it's directly, that really align with those values. And so it really helps with being able to find the right candidates if you have a genuine employer branding piece that really communicates what you're about.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So diving in a little bit into the salary and benefits aspect of an employer brand, Bespoke Careers, we're known for our annual salary guide that covers, at the moment, it's got 10 locations across the world, and we give you the sort of salary range for all of the top roles within architecture design, architecture and interior products, and business support. So there's about 100 salaries there for each location. It's pretty comprehensive. So I do feel like we have a pretty good understanding of, what people are getting paid in the market, but also the role that that has on companies being able to attract and retain staff. I feel like we're going to be saying that a lot, but I wonder if you could talk to me a little bit about that, and a little bit about the salary guide.
Yeah, I mean, I think our salary guide is really useful. I mean, the evidence is in the number of downloads from clients and candidates. I think it's a super valuable resource for all of our clients across the globe. Um, I mean, salary is and always will be one of, if not the most important factor for candidates, but it's not the only factor. The ability to attract really top candidates that are suitable for your firm can be improved by other benefits and other benefits that align with your employer brand. For example, if your employer brand is about um, respecting work-life balance, but uh, you only offer 10 days PTO, it doesn't really align, it's got to align. And but on the other hand, if you really respect work-life balance and you want to get that across in your employer brand, and you offer 20 days PTO and you offer extended parental leave, that is something that aligns, and um, that will help you attract great talent, even if your salaries aren't at the very top of the range.
Yeah. In terms of the salary, when you're talking to, the best candidates out there, and you're asking them, what's the motivation for the move? What are some of the conversations you're hearing, and how often does salary come into that conversation?
Um, Honestly, it's rarely the main reason the best candidates want to move. Um, the range of salaries in architecture for people with similar kind of experience isn't that large. There are some firms that will pay more. There are some that pay slightly, but in reality, you're talking 5%, 5% difference. So if someone's main motivation for leaving is salary, then we can only really help them if they're being hugely underpaid, or if they're just looking for a kind of small increase. Um, but most of the time, it's around career progression. It's around wanting to work on new, exciting projects. It's about hybrid working. It's about work-life balance. Um, there are lots of reasons besides salary that people want to move on.
As we go into the sort of benefits arm of it, I suppose the question, or the sort of hottest question at the moment, is remote working. Recently did some research in New York to figure out, what's the current status of it, and we found that actually clients and candidates, sorry, employers and job seekers, I should say, are largely in agreement that 3 days in the office at the moment is the preferred split. Are you seeing similar things in Texas?
Yeah, absolutely. There are some firms that have implemented a return to work mandate, and as a result have lost employees. Um, I mean, I fully understand that if that's what your culture is about, and it's an in-office culture, and you feel that that's the best way to uh, for you to work, and that you'll get better results that way, then that's fine, and you should stick to that. But you should just know that your talent pool will be smaller, and you might find it more challenging to attract the talent that you want. I think most of the time we see a 3-day, 2-day, or sometimes a 4-day in, 1 day at home. Um, and that really it makes a big difference to candidates, even if it's just the 1 day, not having to commute. Um, it makes a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you sort of touched on it there, but one of the things that you need to be able to do if you're asking candidates to come in more than your competition is you need to be able to justify it, and you need to be able to align it to your core values, I suppose. So,
Hmm.
why is
Yeah,
it that we need to come in 2 days more than my friend down the road? And some firms are having great success in being able to do that. It aligns with their values of being sort of really valuing culture and sort of the social times, but also being able to, when you're talking about career progression, I think being in the office, especially for younger architects and designers, it's a really important thing to be there for those chance interactions, those kind of ad hoc conversations that are going on.
yeah, absolutely. It's what we hear all the time. I hear it on a weekly basis. Is employers battling with this return to work, remote work situation, and how to uh, kind of replace that learning by osmosis that happens in the office, being pulled into meetings, overhearing more senior architects, being able to grab a senior architect and ask them about a particular problem. Um, so I really do understand um, why that's challenging, and I think a lot of the time architects haven't, or architecture firms haven't necessarily thought of how to replace that. Um, and actually whether it's possible to replace that. I know technology can do a lot of things, but whether it really can replace that. So I do understand the predicament. I think the other thing to consider is whether remote work um, is a is a benefit. I think we kind of see it as a benefit, or people like to do it, but is it part of your benefits package to be able to work remotely, or is it just the work style, and how the company work most effectively? Um, yeah, it's an interesting one.
Yeah, for sure. Are there any other sort of benefits that you're seeing at the moment that are actually moving the needle in terms of attraction and retention?
Um, I think the PTO is a big one, um, and it can differ wildly, particularly here in the US. There are some firms that offer 10 days. There are some that offer 20, and that's is a huge difference. So I think that's a big one. It's obviously something that employees really value: extra time with their family, extra time to unwind and recharge. Um, if they've got two offers, and they're similar salaries, or even the 20 days PTO, a slightly lower salary, a lot of the time they're going to go with the additional PTO. Um, think added paternity leave is a really big one. Um, yeah, it's huge, in fact, because the statutory leave here isn't very big. Um, reimbursement for professional licensing fees, these kind of things, like the cost of being an architect, having that reimbursed is important. Um, And then some firms do cool things. Like there's a festival here in Austin. One of our clients gives tickets to that festival for the whole long weekend. Um, Gives a couple of tickets, and they all go together every year, and that's kind of part of what they do. So I don't know if that's a something that every firm is capable of doing, but I think it aligns with their employer brand of being this kind of fun, um, sort of family atmosphere where they go and enjoy this festival together. Um, so yeah, people can get creative.
I do want to make these episodes actionable for our clients, the ones who are looking to improve their employer brand and employer brand. So when it comes to salaries and benefits, is there anything you could say to someone that tomorrow they could implement this, or they could at least start work on this to kind of up their game in this department to be able to attract and retain more staff?
Yeah, I think every firm has some most of the larger firms already have an employer branding strategy or have that in place. I think for the smaller and mid-sized firms, um, your LinkedIn company page, have have description of what it's like to work at your company, um, and make it really clear. And anyone that you would want to attract, well, you'd want to apply, you'd want to work at your firm, um, have that kind of information readily available. Same thing on the careers page of your website. So often it just has a list of available vacancies, and it's not enough. You need more information about what it's like, what your values are, what you're looking for in an employee. Create a YouTube channel, interview some of your employees about what it's like to work at the company, what they enjoy work, why they enjoy working at the company, what your mission is. Are you design driven? Are you looking at helping with affordable housing? Are you all about sustainability? Have this information readily available, um, as a starting point.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think we'll end. I mean, that's some super, super helpful stuff in there. Thanks so much. I think we'll end by taking our watches through the salary guide. So I've got a copy here.
Yeah.
This is the 2024 version. By the time you're watching this, I'm not sure what year we'll be on, but it's just action packed with insights and salaries, and it's interesting for candidates as well to see what people are earning overseas as well. As what their peers are earning, and at Bespoke Careers, we're able to relocate people. You might see in Sydney they're paying more, so we can help with that. But we also have an online version, which I'll bring up on the screen now. So you can come to bespokecareers.com and browse by your location. You can download a PDF of the guide here, and you can look at all the salaries. And then we also have the benefits package. So a really valuable resource, James.
Yeah, super valuable. And like I say, so many clients, candidates, um, either download this, or we hand them out when we're at trade fairs, or we bring them to our client meetings. And I know that they're a really valuable resource for both candidates and clients.
Cool. Well, if you want a copy of the latest salary guide, get in touch with James. We'll put his contact details somewhere in the description. But thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
No probs.
Cool. I'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Bye.